Hey guys, how you doing? Well, I just wanted to make just one more video regarding liquidated radios and radios on eBay. There's something that I encountered with 2500s that I haven't really, I've mentioned a few people who have called, but I know that there's a lot of people who get a hold of go on the forums and message boards and things like that. And one thing I haven't really seen, I don't get on message boards too much. It's not because I don't like them, it's just because I just don't have time. But I do, you know, there's a wealth. P25, if you ever get a chance, go to P25 forums. Mars, Sean, he's one hell of a good guy. Magnus, Alpha. There's so many guys that just know so much, and I mean, when it comes to radios and when it comes to actually programming them and actually using the radios, man, the wealth of knowledge on that board is just, you know, it's off the charts. But anyway, I haven't seen any mention of the any liquidated radios or liquidated radio issues. One thing that I have noticed is some radios will not upgrade. They will not firmware upgrade. I don't know why. On 2500s, they will not upgrade. Some UCMs will not upgrade. I don't know why. I don't think that it's an issue with the I button. I believe it's an issue with the board itself. This is a brand new radio. I believe, let me take a look. This could be a used radio. Can't really remember, but as you can tell, for the guys who steal the serial numbers, as you can tell, it's, you know, it's very, very good shape. And let's see, this one, yeah, this is an S-split. Okay. One thing that you really wouldn't know is when you look at used radios on eBay, be it a liquidator or anybody else, but especially a liquidator, you don't really know the internal, well, you don't know what the radio's gone through. And one issue that I have noticed, and I've had to send radios back because of it. There's some radios that are coming out from correctional facilities, and usually the indications are, you know, some jackass has taken a big marker and will write B7 or, you know, whatever. Not only on here, he'll write it on here. He'll write it on here. He'll write his name. You know, take the back off and put numbers, you know, put numbers of paint. Just goes nuts with paint pens. As you know, it's a pain in the ass to ever deal with a radio like that. But correctional radios that have been in Department of Corrections, those are radios you do not want. And one of the main reasons is that there's a lot of hard use. People that are in the correctional facilities, they bang those radios around a lot. And one thing I noticed with 2500s is they beat the shit out of them. And I mean literally beat the shit out of them. Everything from displays going bad to keypads not working, you name it. But one thing I will let you in on is the antenna port. Nobody's ever brought this up, and I'm surprised. And I think that the reason that it's not been brought up is there's not a lot of people taking these radios apart and inspecting them internally. That's not a knock on any of the, you know, any of the fellas that are in the industry. I believe they probably know. It's just not been mentioned. But radios with antennas that are bent like this are usually on heavy individuals. And I call it the fat man syndrome. When you have a radio that has an antenna port, you have to protect that port. Well, a lot of people in the Department of Corrections, they bang their bodies up against walls and things like that, trying to detain or restrain prisoners, and they can actually break this, and you wouldn't know it by looking at it. You wouldn't really know it because the way this seats in, it seats in very tight. But when you take the radio apart, I've seen this antenna port literally broken loose, just hanging there. You know, it's seated in place, but there's a blue wire that goes down from this port, and that's a critical aspect of the radio, because I mean that's where the transmissions come from, and a lot of times that can snap, and you wouldn't think that a lot of banging around on a radio with this surround present would actually knock the base loose. But trust me, you take one of these apart, several of them, more than two, the thing is just hanging there. And sometimes that blue wire inside is broken. You wouldn't know that until you took it apart. If you're having problems with the used radio, an eBay radio, that could be an issue. It's something you need to watch for. Radios that won't upgrade, that's an odd problem, but it usually gets down to the radio itself. The files and the I button are pretty much bulletproof. Motorola says they are, and I really don't doubt them. It's real frustrating when you try to get a radio, a 2500, to upgrade and it doesn't take, or a UCM upgrade. UCMs, make sure you check the box when you're doing an upgrade. Check the UCM box. The file is usually I think it's a music note type icon. It'll say R05, let's see, R050715. I think it's late, and I've been working in the yard. I got too hot, and yeah. Anyway, watch out for 2500s, because on used radios, if they look well used, if you have a lot of bangs up against here, a lot of times, and I've seen this, a lot of times, look very closely, because this shaft can bend, and this shaft can also break. I've seen that before as well. Instead of going straight up and down, it can go to the side, and sometimes you might not even notice that the radio is loose. Until you take that off. But you know, if the thing's been banged around a lot, or even a little, just keep your eye out. 2500s are difficult radios. 5000s are a lot easier to work on. 2500s, the UCMs are built into the keypad. That's the encryption modules. They're soldered onto the back. I may be running out of tape here, and if I am, I'm sorry. But the radio itself is very difficult to work on. It's really not a radio that you can actually disassemble very easily. And if you ever have to do a rehousing on them, you've seen my videos on rehousing. It's not easy. But also the washers on the bottom can deteriorate. You know, it's one of those things. But getting transmissions. I shouldn't be getting transmissions. But yeah, as far as that goes, just keep an eye out, and also keep an eye out for bent shafts on the channel selector. These 3 pieces can cause issues, and they can cause issues that you do not want. But when you get a radio, if you get a used radio, make sure you check it out. And it's not a bad idea to actually have that radio checked out, especially if it's going into public service. In fact, if it is going into public safety, I would say 100% take it to the radio shop that does the work, have them pull the case, and have them inspect this radio, not only externally, but have them disassemble it and have them check that. You have to have them check that. That's very important. 5000s, I really haven't seen that issue on. 2500s, yep, it happens. So anyway, guys, take it easy. I hope you're doing well. Just one more thing on used and liquidated radios. Radios that have been in the corrections field. The guys just don't really treat them very well. They just show up for work, they wear them, they get what they get, they drop them, and a lot of times, even in construction, when things like this happen, you can have issues. So try to steer clear of stuff like that. 2500s are great radios. They're quick carry radios. They're lightweight if you get a lithium-ion battery, but at the same time, when you compare the weight with a nickel metal hydride, there's not that much difference between this and a 5000. There just really isn't. But as far as portability, EMS, ambulance, corrections, these radios do fine. They're just great. But keep in mind, as time goes by, you've got to be vigilant in what you're looking at, and you need to be timely, especially if you're buying a used radio, in diagnosing if there is an issue. But if your radio isn't transmitting very well or intermittently, this port could be loose or completely disconnected. So I haven't seen that. Nobody's really addressed that in the forums that I've seen, but I haven't gotten a chance to get on there very often. I just don't have time. But anyway, it's been 13 minutes. I can't believe it. Take it easy, guys. Hope you're having a good weekend, and hope you have a good start to your week. Later on.